is Jaguars Happy Hour. And now, a guy who admits to sometimes waking up dangerous, J.P. Shadrick.
Yeah, me and Mayfield. Yeah, absolutely. Wake up dangerous. Welcome in. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, and it's Thursday, and it's week 2. And we've got a busy show. Actually, 2 hours ahead. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. Analyst Jeff Lageman is coming up. The Colts and the Jaguars in the AFC South this Sunday, 1 o'clock. Final preparations today, tomorrow, walk through Saturday, tee it up Sunday at 1 o'clock. And then the Doug Pederson Show at 5 today. Head coach Doug Pederson joining us on the program a little bit later, an hour from now. Let's hear from Doug Pederson. Earlier this week, you could categorize last week's loss in Washington as a stinging loss for this team, but it's how they move forward.
They should all sting. And, I you've heard the phrase, you should hate losing more than you like to win. And, especially when it's self-inflicted. I can handle a loss if we get beat, right? I mean, both good games, it's better. Good games, back and forth, comes down to the end, you get beat, right? But when you make the mistakes that we did, the amount of mistakes on both sides of the ball, it's harder. It's harder to stomach. But listen, it's week 1. We got a young football team that's eager to get back out on the practice field and correct a lot of those mistakes.
That's earlier this week, of course, from head coach Doug Pederson. Today, offensive coordinator Press Taylor spoke with the media. The Jaguars had 13 penalties as a team, the highest in the league last week. Many of those on the offensive side of the ball. They had some miscues in the red zone, notably early in the game. And this week, for Press Taylor, about cleaning up those mistakes.
Yeah, it just kind of felt like we missed opportunities. A little bit of missed opportunities of things that were there that we didn't execute at the highest level on, and then even some things that just kind of shooting ourselves in the foot. An illegal formation, illegal shift, some things that don't need to happen that we're in complete control of, and we understand that, and working to rectify that situation.
The quarterback could help rectify that as well with a little bit of a better performance overall, trying to keep it steady in week number 2 for number 16.
Just lacked consistency, I think, from myself, from everyone really, just being more consistent around just the whole offense. So, including myself especially. I think, obviously, you look at red zone, and that's something where we had a lot of opportunities and didn't capitalize on them, whether it was a missed throw, a drop, whatever it was, a few things. Obviously, I'm in that as well with the missed throw. A couple of them that were, one to Zay as well, that was close. That probably missed a little bit wide. So, you look at all those, and those are, everyone kind of sees that, so those are obvious, but then you just break down the game, and you're kicking yourself because you had so many opportunities to win the game, and you didn't. So that's frustrating, but to see kind of how we started off really slow in the first half, offensively and defensively, and then to be able to flip it after halftime and play really well pretty much till halfway through the fourth quarter, and then we just got to finish. But to see us battle back and just have that confidence to, we're down 2 scores, but it doesn't really matter. We know we got what it takes to get back in the game. I thought that was huge.
And now to the defensive side of the ball. Coordinator Mike Caldwell speaking with the media today. You just heard the offensive side, of course. The defense at a good point in that game last week did their part. They had 3 takeaways after having 9 all of last season combined, and the DC loves it.
I think we always talk about they come in bunches, and we've been stressing to the guys to focus on them. And, they went out there and we had 2 great plays that were made, then the fumble. So, we were focused on it, and hopefully that'll continue.
So there you have it, some of the best sound of the week on Jaguars Happy Hour on this Thursday. We welcome in Jaguars analyst Jeff Lageman, who is one of the most studious people I know. Look at all the paper all over the desk. You got the iPad everywhere. You got your glasses. You got 17 different colors of pens.
That's the secret. When you can separate thoughts with different colors, it's a little bit easier to stay organized. JP.
There you go. You've got it all written up and ready to go. So
Getting there.
And I think this team is ready to move it forward too after a tough loss, a stinging loss, as you just heard Doug Pederson talk about there. But hey, they were in the game. They had the lead. They lost it. the sky's not falling. It's on to week 2 and now a big divisional game.
I think the disappointing thing from the player standpoint is that you fight back. You got the lead, and then as a team you had multiple opportunities to capture that game, both offensively and defensively. You go back to where you had a 22-14 lead after James's 11-yard touchdown run. You come back out on the field defensively, and you allow a 4-play, 78-yard drive that has a 49-yard pass to McLaurin, and you allow that big play basically because you've got two kind of breakdowns on the same play. And you can't allow a McLaurin to be over the top when you have a defense that's designed to prevent that from happening. And so defensively, okay, we messed that up. Okay, well, offense, you've got an opportunity now to take control of the ball game because you can run a 4-minute drill. Put it away, right?
Sure, absolutely. Grind it out.
Grind it out. Well, you follow that up. You got a great ETN run, 27 yards, and then a few more plays later, you're punting the ball back to them, and then the Commanders take that 13 plays, go 90 yards. And by the way, you had a 1st and 15 on that drive, multiple third down opportunities as a defense, and you don't capitalize as a defense. Then you turn around and the offense has an opportunity to put a drive together to win the game, be a hero. And it doesn't happen. And I think the disappointing thing on that drive is that on the third down, you're going to throw the ball up and give the opponent an opportunity to intercept the ball, and you're essentially taking one more opportunity at winning out of the equation for your football team. So you've got to get some of these things corrected that we talk about here. When you're given the opportunity, you got to capture them. But then also what the coaches are talking about, some of these things are just easily correctable. Alignment errors where you get penalties on offense.
Yeah, 13 total penalties for this team, the highest in the league, 90 yards of penalty yardage.
Jumping off sides as a defense. In one instance, early in the game, it was a 3rd and 11. You jump off sides, you give them a 3rd and 6. Okay, the percentages of converting a 3rd and 11 compared to a 3rd and 6 are astronomically different. And then you give them a 1st down with an offsides later on in the ball game. And, oh, by the way, hey, they might hard count you on 3rd down. Down. Said, hut. I mean, that's.
I jumped off right now. I jumped
did I blow your ears out, Joe?
I jumped
I'm sorry
offside. I'm guilty. I jumped
But,
offside.
I mean, that's when you expect it. When it's 3rd and 5 or 3rd down, you have to expect the hard count as a guy that's on the line of scrimmage. I mean, just so many different things that I think can be easily fixed. Part of that is just calming down. You got a young team that's excited and amped up. And I think if you calm down a little bit and you still have the intensity, but without the hype, I guess you could say, I think you'll have a better performance early in the ball game, because I thought this team looked tired early in this ball game. And I think a lot of it was just because you're just so amped up to play a ball game. When you got a young team and they're so amped up, a lot of times that takes away the energy from playing football because it's wasting energy.
Let's move our focus now, moving forward, to the Jaguars offense here against the Colts defense coming up this week. We know Gus Bradley very well, of course, the head coach
good
here
coach
for 4 years.
Good coach, got a good system.
And it's, we've heard it a couple of times on shows this week that it's a somewhat simple system. What do you mean by that?
Well, it can be simple.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be simple. But Gus has always had a philosophy, is that you want your defense to play fast. There's kind of two modes of thought when you look at defensive coordinators. One of them is a defensive coordinator says, okay, we're going to make sure that we're assignment perfect, and we're going to keep things fairly simple because we want our guys to play fast. We don't want them thinking at all. We're going to teach them what the opponent can do versus our defenses. And then the other side of that is a coaching staff that believes, hey, look, we're going to scheme them up. We're going to have this intricate stuff that they can't figure out, that they haven't seen, and we're going to make it difficult because they're going to have to prepare for a lot.
Guys moving pre-snap,
they're going to have to prepare for our disguises. Yeah. We're going to zone blitz. We're going to zero blitz. We're going to play zone. We're going to be doing all this stuff. And so your playbook turns out to be, let's say, for example, let's say Gus Bradley's playbook is 20 pages. some defensive coordinators believe in so from 20 pages to 80 pages in a defensive playbook. So Gus Bradley's is smaller, but it doesn't mean that it's easier to face because they're taught to what you're trying to do on offense. So they play faster, they play more aware, they react better. So, but I think it makes it easier, I think, from an offensive game planning standpoint, but the execution doesn't make it's not any easier.
It's a new, obviously, defensive coordinator there, but they'll still
have
change. Yeah, it is, but they'll still have that same approach where they're going to go punch after the football and get those takeaways. That was a big.
That's always been there, but they haven't had their guy on the field, Shaq Leonard, which was formerly known as Darius Leonard, and he hasn't played yet. He's had a back surgery. Mm-hmm. And Matt Eberflus was the former defensive coordinator, which he ran more 3-4 principles. Gus Bradley is a 4-3 guy. So it's a little bit of a change for the Colts. And
do they have a Leo?
Eberflus has gone on to be the head coach of the Bears. And Leo, Four Eyes, that's all the Gus Bradley terminology that you're talking about. Pirates and Spikes and Rams and all these different stunts that they have. Yeah. But the one thing that hasn't changed, that they still have DeForest Buckner in the middle, and he is a stud. I mean, Jonathan Allen is right up there with the top 5 defensive tackles. DeForest Buckner is in that same group. And, oh, by the way, last week, Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen had their way a little bit. And this guy that you're facing this week, because Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen are shorter, 6'3"-ish defensive linemen, with arms that are okay length. DeForest Buckner's got arms that literally are probably like 38, 39-inch sleeve length, maybe longer. I mean, he's long, strong, got great athletic ability. So another challenge this week on the inside. And then on the outside, former teammates, Yannick Ngakoue is going to be matching up against Cam Robinson.
You think there'll be some talking in that matchup?
Absolutely.
Didn't Jan get a couple sacks here, a couple years ago? He got Gardner Minshew a couple times.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who he was playing with at the time. He's been bounced around so much.
Right.
He's been with Minnesota and the Raiders.
And he got traded mid-season to the Raiders.
I just was like, whoa.
Right.
Anyway, and then Kwity Paye's on the other side. He had 2 sacks last week against Houston. He's not a real long guy, but I mean, he's pretty stout. And he had 2 sacks last week. Was a pretty high pick. It's going to be challenging as far as the Jaguars' offense goes because the offensive line didn't play well last week, JP.
Did you like the way the running backs were divvying up the reps that they got?
You talking about J-Rob and Etienne?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was a real nice job. The one thing that I wish the opportunities that were all there were captured, and what I mean by that is 4th down and goal. Okay, Etienne, you got to catch that ball.
Yeah.
I get it. It wasn't a perfectly thrown ball, and it was a little high, but it's catchable. I wish Trevor hit Etienne on the first drive. Could have been a touchdown. I wish that we didn't. The Jaguars didn't have a penalty to negate an Etienne or James Robinson. Which one was Etienne's run? I think it was Etienne's run. And but I like the way that they mixed the two of them in. I like the fact that James Robinson got the start. I think that's the way it should have been, and I was very happy to see that at the beginning part of the game. And James looked fantastic.
Right, they both looked like they were rolling out there healthy, which was great.
They looked great. I mean, both of them looked great carrying the ball.
Yeah.
Etienne did not look great catching the ball. Not just because of the one that was down the seam. He kind of double clutched that one, fell down. The protection has to be better by Travis in pass protection. James can be a little bit stouter. I mean, those guys definitely have some room. But I mean, we kind of gloss over the fact that James Robinson just came back from a torn Achilles tendon.
8.5 months.
Are you kidding me?
Right.
I mean, seriously. I mean, we kind of. I think in sports sometimes because we've seen this happen. Like last year, the Rams had a guy that came back in a short amount of time. I mean, people have to realize that is unbelievable that you have a running back coming back from a torn Achilles tendon, and he's come back and he looked like himself. I mean, he looked like James Robinson of old. I mean, first of all, give credit to the surgeon, give credit to James, give credit to Robbie, who was his therapist throughout the entire process. I mean, wow. Because, JP a few years ago, bye-bye.
Yeah.
End of career.
Possibility, yeah.
No, not a possibility, JP. That was it.
It was over. Yeah.
That was it. I mean, if you got a torn Achilles and you were a skill position player a few years back, you were done. I mean, the only one that I think that I remember coming back from it, from recent history, or should I say the older history, was Dan Marino came back. And what did he do? He gimped around everywhere.
He didn't run.
He
that's
gimped
for
around,
sure.
He's doing all this stuff,
So he had to get it out fast.
He still was a great player.
Sure.
But it wasn't the same for Dan. I mean, you watch Danny walk right now, he doesn't walk normal. So anyway, congratulations to James and also to the entire team of people that helped him get back, because I just think you can't say enough about that.
A little more later on the wide receiver play last week. Christian Kirk had a day. We'll come back to it in a moment and get into the defense. And they've got their hands full this week against a Colts offense that likes to run the football. PRI Productions, the official event production company of the Jags, has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com. Coming up at 5 o'clock, the Doug Pederson Show. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Reconnect with the best version of you at Amara Med Spa, Northeast Florida's premier luxury medical spa, located in Ponte Vedra, Town Center, Avondale, St. Augustine, and Fernandina. With the most advanced injectors, estheticians, and technology, Amara Med Spa is redefining beauty, offering services such as Botox and filler, M-Sculpt Neo, painless laser hair removal, and advanced skincare treatments. Visit theamaramedspa.com and book a complimentary consultation today.
Headquartered in Jacksonville, Florida, CSI Companies partners with leading organizations across the country to deliver workforce solutions. As a proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars, CSI crafts personalized operations to fuel the success of businesses, both big and small. Whether it's finding the right talent for a job or seamlessly managing a project from start to finish, CSI has over 3 decades of experience in getting the job done. This is your workforce solutions reimagined. Visit CSICompanies.com.
The Land Rover Defender story began with the simple thought of creating an exceptionally capable off-road vehicle, becoming the go-anywhere, do-anything all-terrain machine. Today, there's a new Land Rover Defender, the toughest and most advanced Land Rover vehicle ever. From the beginning, Land Rover knew the new Defender was capable of great things. Motor Trend's 2021 SUV of the Year is just the latest example. Test drive the new Land Rover Defender today at Land Rover Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard, or go to LandRoverJacksonville.com. Land Rover, above and beyond.
Kessler Creative, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, has the print services you need for your business. Need large banners and signs for your next promotional event? How about custom boxes to advertise your company fleet? Find out for yourself how Kessler Creative can help you stand out from the competition with eye-catching designs that are sure to impress your customers. Kessler Creative, Jacksonville, Florida. Results-driven marketing, and a proud partner of Jacksonville Jaguars.
Cancer patients across the Southeast make Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center in Jacksonville their first choice for treatment. Dr. Jonathan Melquist explains why.
We have so many resources that can help a patient from the very onset, and we just have a degree of unity and cohesive care that is hard to match. It's especially with the tougher cancers that we really excel.
Appointments available now. Call 844-632-2278.
The station that the Jaguars listen to, 1010XL. Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
You know, he was older than me, and he's seen a lot of people through the years. So when I first got there, I was kind of a timid rookie. Didn't really know anybody in the league, and you know, towards the end of my time there, you know, he came up to me and said he liked the way I progressed, and that just meant the most to me. So definitely a lot of respect for him, and just him saying those words meant a lot to me. But you know, trying to compete against him now.
That's Foye Oluokun, the Jaguars linebacker, brought in from the Falcons in free agency this offseason. And welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour coming up at 5 o'clock, the Doug Pederson Show. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Well, Oluokun was on the Falcons, of course, with Matt Ryan. Matty Ice is now in Indy with the Colts. Yet another veteran quarterback. The Colts are trying to help take them to the promised land, they think. Well, they thought it was going to be Phillip Rivers. That didn't work out. It wasn't Carson Wentz. That didn't work out. They couldn't get him out of there fast enough. And now it's Matt Ryan, who just surpassed 60,000 career passing yards last week in the tie game against Houston.
Well, and he's not a guy that I think that the Colts will sit there and go, yes, he's going to be our answer for the next 8 years. I think the Colts will always be looking for a franchise guy. They have 3 quarterbacks on their roster, and one of them's a young player, and Sam Ehlinger, I think, is that how it's pronounced?
From Texas, yep.
Which they feel pretty strongly about him. Most teams don't keep 3 quarterbacks on the roster, so they're hoping to catch lightning in a bottle, maybe in the mid to late rounds with a quarterback. And Nick Foles is the backup there in Indianapolis. But Matt's better than Carson Wentz. I mean, if that's what a lot of people are wondering, because Carson Wentz makes some really dumb, panicked decisions. Matt Ryan doesn't do that typically. Well, the fact of the matter is, though, that Matt Ryan will turn the ball over, but he doesn't have this panic about him. He's seen a lot of looks. He's got a lot of experience under his belt. And I also think that sometimes when you get older and you've been in one place for a significant amount of time, you can have a little, maybe almost a sense of complacency to where you're not challenging yourself like you really – I kind of had that a little bit. And when you go to a new place, you feel like you have to prove yourself again. And so it could be good for Matt Ryan. Now, his numbers in the first 3 quarters of football in Houston didn't show that.
Right.
But, man, you look at the fourth quarter, what he was able to do, and he was pretty doggone good. I mean, really doggone good.
It helps when you have a running game to support you, and they certainly do in Indianapolis.
A little running game?
You think? Yeah, Jonathan Taylor led the league in attempts, rushing yardage, and rushing touchdowns a season ago, and he's off to that pace again after 1 week.
Yeah, he's really good. You go back, what was it? It was the 2020 season, I think last game of the year against the Jaguars in Indianapolis, and he rushes for – 253 yards on 30 carries or something like that?
2 touchdowns.
Oh, I mean, it was just a monster performance.
Now, that was the end of a really rough season.
I don't care what it was.
I'm
it's
just telling
253 yards
I get
in a
what
game.
It was, sure.
And then last week he rolls up for 161, I believe. I mean, this guy's a workhorse. This guy's a danger every time he touches the ball. Size, he got speed, he's got quickness, he's got incredible vision. Now, there's not a whole lot of running backs that can make it happen with little movement. I thought Emmitt Smith was one of those guys. When I used to watch and face Emmitt, he was just he had a knack for moving just the slightest bit to create the biggest hole for himself. And what I mean by the biggest hole, a lot of times he had contact in that hole.
Yeah.
But Emmitt was so strong, he would run through it. So he would subtle move to power through a guy because he was so powerful. Well, Jonathan Taylor is very similar. It's a little different running style, but I think the way it happens is very similar in that Jonathan Taylor makes subtle moves, and he's so strong that he runs through a lot of stuff. There's no back in the league last year that had more yards after contact than Jonathan Allen. I mean, that's how good he is. So if you're going to stop him, or Jonathan Taylor, if you're going to stop him, you'd better have a lot of guys to the football. And you hear coordinators use the terms, we got to populate the football.
That's right.
Okay, well, you better populate the front porch of Jonathan Taylor if you're going to end up beating him this week and holding him to where he's not a huge factor in this ball game. Because if all of a sudden he's running the ball for 30 carries and 250 yards or 200 yards or 160 yards or whatever,
good night.
Matt Ryan's going to sit back there and just have, all the time in the world and throw it to his big receivers. Then it'll be a long day at the bank.
Roy Robertson Harris said no arm tackles for this guy. Got to get your full weight on him at least.
Well, yes.
And have some help would be helpful.
There's some guys that can probably get away with arm tackles against Jonathan Taylor, but it's a very few number. Okay, and Roy Robertson Harris is a stud when it comes to how strong he is. And he'd better bring his body with him. Big Roy is strong, but Jonathan is really strong. It's a great challenge. Look, the Colts got a good offensive line. I don't want to call him great, but they have a great player in Quentin Nelson. There's a couple guys that when I watch the film that you just kind of zero in on. On offense, it's Quentin Nelson, Jonathan Taylor. On defense, it's DeForest Buckner. The length that he has. Kwity Paye also kind of flashed a little bit. Darius Leonard always shows up when you watch him, but he obviously didn't play this past week. But, man, DeForest Buckner and Quentin Nelson and Jonathan Taylor, I don't know where PFF ranks those three guys in their position, but they got to be top five. I mean, they're that good.
Quentin Nelson has been AP first team All-Pro, I believe, 4 times. First 3 seasons he was first team. Then his 4th season was second team. He's been to the Pro Bowl his first 4 seasons in the league. The only other Colts player to do that was Alan Amici in the 50s. And he just signed a big contract also, 4 years, $80 million.
Yeah, I mean, it's $20 million a year.
What makes him so good? Why is he worth all these accolades and money?
He does everything well. He is strong. He moves people, which in a league that typically people just try to get in their way, he moves them. In pass protection, he's got balance. He's athletic. He can pull at 330 pounds. There's just nothing that he can't do. He has the athleticism of a Brandon Sheriff and then the power of a Larry Allen going back to the Dallas Cowboys of old.
Saying something now.
And Larry Allen was stud.
Yeah.
Stud. And that's what this Quentin Nelson guy has as far as power. I watch him. I got to admit, I watch him on every play because when you watch him, you just go, damn, he's good. I mean, it's just like, wow, look at that play. Wow, look at that play. And he's not perfect. He got beat on one pass play, a little pass rush. This past game against Houston, I don't remember who beat him. It was a defensive lineman that was because I'm going to tell you now, the Texans, when we get to them and you're going to start sitting there writing the names down of some of the defensive players they have, and you're going to go, who? Who's that guy? I was literally having to go through the roster of the Houston Texans to find out who these guys were because so many of them are new and young. But anyway, Quentin Nelson, great player. If there's an offensive lineman in the league that is worth the price of admission alone from himself, I would say it's Quentin Nelson.
I was going to say, because guard play is not necessarily sexy, but that's something to watch if he's out there playing it, though, right? I mean,
I think if you put an ISO camera on Quentin Nelson, every week, you could probably sell the highlight reel or televise the highlight reel and have people be entertained. He's pretty good. And last year he was beat up. I mean, significantly beat up. This year in the offseason, from what I have been reading, is he had completely healthy offseason. And what that allows a player to do is it allows them to work on them getting better and stronger instead of, hey, I'm just trying to get back to where I was at prior to the injury. So instead of rehab mode, you're in progression mode. And I'm sure that made a huge difference for him. I know just from firsthand experience when you have an off season that you're just training compared to an off season that you're trying to rehab and train, it's difficult to take steps to get better. And yeah, he's a stud. He's a stud, and I can tell you, Fadakasi, Devon Hamilton, Roy Robertson Harris, they better strap it on and pack your lunch.
Let's come back. We'll get into the Jaguars' defensive personnel a little deeper in this game, coming off of Week 1, heading into the home opener this week. Of course, today on 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars social media as well, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Thank you for joining us today, and check out the official Jaguars podcast network. It's free on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you download podcasts. Back with more in a moment. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field, because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans that cover over 6,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call the MVPs at CarShield for their best coverage ever. Call 800-471-1223. 800-471-1223. Go Jags!
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gates frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today, or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
It's Ford Truck Month. Now's the time to get a great deal on the only trucks built Ford tough. Work or play, get after it in a new Ford F-150 or Super Duty truck. Get a Ford Maverick, or get after any adventure in a Ford Ranger pickup. Take advantage of our best offers on the full Ford lineup of trucks, but you better get going. These deals won't last. Get to Ford Truck Month. Some models, trims, and features may not be available or may be subject to change. See your local dealer for details.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Mike Dempsey and Fat Tony, Jaguars Today. All Jaguars, all NFL, all the time. 10 to noon weekdays on 1010XL.
Welcome back, Jaguars Happy Hour. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lageman, the Jaguars and the Indianapolis Colts. This week's game presented by TIAA Bank at TIAA Bank Field.
Big
1
game.
o'clock kickoff time. Yeah,
big game. Divisional game, home opener.
How about this? The Colts, and we'll get to the Jags defense here in a sec, but the Colts have 5 of their first 7 games this year against the AFC South. That's a lot of division play early in the season. There's the Chiefs game thrown in there too. They've already tied a game. So if they drop a couple of these division games early, then it's just a math game in the division at that point for them. It's going to be tough for them to bounce back.
Well, and for a team that over the last couple of years hasn't started well, that can be a major problem this year. So they better hold on.
Yeah.
And not to mention that this week hasn't gone so well for that team coming here.
Yeah, the Jaguars have a long long winning streak against the Colts in this stadium, at least in the home side of the series. One of the games was in London at Wembley back in 2016. But 7 consecutive years the Jaguars have won the home side of the series. The last Indy win in Jacksonville was 2014. And since that time, of course, the Jags have done it a bunch of different ways, blown them out, squeaked by, held them off in London. A 6-0 game, you rarely see that in the league anymore. And but hey, one way or another, they seem to get it done here.
Well, it's gonna. I think that's going to be in the back of their minds. A lot of people say, "Well, how much does carryover matter?" I think every year is unique, in that you don't assume. Put it this way: Foye Lucan doesn't know anything about the Jaguar Colts series.
Right.
Okay, Christian Kirk doesn't know anything about it.
Devin Lloyd, rookie.
Yeah, I mean, they hear things
Right.
or whatever, but Doug Pederson wasn't here for the last 8 years for any of that. So it's different, but at the same time, when something happens, and maybe in a game, and it might not be going the way you want if you're a Colts player, then you're starting to go, oh. I think last year was very unique from the standpoint of all the pressure was on the Colts, because they had to win to get in. The week before, I think it was against the Raiders, they had to win to get in, and they faltered there. And then you come here, and now all the pressure's on them, and they didn't play well. And Carson Wentz really didn't play well. So I think the mistakes can get magnified, and in playoff football, I've always said this, the magnification of mistakes in the playoffs. And it's no different when you're in a must-win game at the last game of the regular season. It's a playoff game, essentially what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So when the Colts made a mistake, it was like, geez, we're not doing well. They get tight. And I think that's what the Colts were last year. They're not going to be tight coming in here this year, I don't think. They got a new veteran quarterback. It's a different year. They're confident in their running game, and got a new defensive coordinator. There's so much new to the Colts organization. I just don't think there's going to be any kind of carryover from any of those other years.
Who on the defensive side for the Jaguars last week had, would you say, the best game? Who had the best overall game last week on defense?
Well, I mean, just from the impact plays, you would say your first overall pick, Trayvon. Sack.
Yeah, it was in the third quarter opening drive.
Interception.
Yes.
I thought he did pretty well. Now, here's the reality. Me and Baselli had this discussion a little bit after the game, and that because we're both watching film, and if you compare the performance of Montez Sweat versus Trayvon Walker, and you had to pick which one had more of an impact in the game, both Tony and I thought that it was Montez. But Trayvon had the two big plays.
Yes. But
But
consistency.
play after play after play after play, Montez Sweat was impacting the game. He was giving Cam Robinson fits. Fits. I think Cam gave up, combination of pressures and hits, I think 5 in the ball game, and a lot of that was because of Montez Sweat. But Trayvon, I think, had a really good game. But I don't think anybody had a great game. I mean, because, we can go around the list. You got Josh had the tackle for loss and the caused fumble.
Nice.
Okay. Didn't do a great job rushing the passer. He was taking guys down the center a lot. On the inside guys, I thought Fatukasi and Big Roy and Devon, I thought all three of them played pretty well. But, okay, Fatukasi had a sack and he missed him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Then jumped offside.
Jumped off sides. You don't have consistent pressure in the middle. Foye was making some tackles, Lucan, but he got beat in a man-to-man. He got beat on a third down. He was making some tackles that not exactly where you wanted them to be. Devin Lloyd was a little slow to react. Shaq had the tough play on the long ball, but look, he needed some safety help over the top. So, mistakes by both guys in that situation. He had some missed tackles by Darius Williams. Tyson Campbell had a big play on the interception where he was just sitting there baiting Carson Wentz, but then he gave up a big play that was the go-ahead score for Washington. So, can you say that anybody had an outstanding game? No, but I thought there were moments that everybody had some really good moments. And so You try to eliminate those bad plays, focus in a little bit better, get rid of the mental mistakes, the ones that are easily controlled, and then you move forward and get better.
Yeah, that second and third quarter felt like what they wanted to be. They were getting off the field quick. They were getting takeaways. They were setting it up.
But it's 4 quarters in a game.
It is. That's the problem. Yeah.
And that sometimes is a sign that it's a young team. And, at some point, though, you can't keep saying, well, we're a young team. At some point, you need to grow up and say, okay, all right, now it's time to produce. Production is the bottom line, and that's what it's all about. Doesn't matter what your age is.
Time now for the injury report presented by Baptist Health and the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute, the official sports medicine provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And the athletic training crew is down there twiddling their thumbs. There's not much going on these days. There's nobody on the injury report.
Yeah, there's always something going on, JP. I mean, it's
nobody's on the report.
Right, nobody's on the injury report, but there's bumps and bruises and things that you have to treat maintenance-wise. Every player always has something, So there's ice bags and stem units and hot and cold, where you get the back and forth into the 2 different tubs and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, all that stuff is still going on, but there's just nothing costly enough or significant enough to put it on the injury report to where a player gets listed, which is pretty amazing. It's pretty cool.
It's rare. I don't remember seeing one, at least in a long time, without anybody on it.
Yeah, keep it like knocking on wood here because I don't want to jinx this football team like you just probably did. And
wow,
next week they got,
Reezy. Come on now.
You
believe in
really,
that?
I didn't want to talk about that because it's just not good karma.
You're a jinx guy. I didn't know you were a jinx guy.
Look, I believe in some of that stuff, man.
Okay.
Just the next time, stay away from it, JP. Don't mention it again.
Yeah, well, I will. By the way, the Colts have a few guys on their list.
Big names.
Shaquille Leonard has practiced full both days of practice. He has a back issue, of course. But
remember
full.
He had the ankle issue last year, so I think he had some surgery stuff to fix that in the off season. So and then he had the back in camp. So really good football player, and it looks like he's trending in the right direction.
Yeah, he did not play last week. So limited today, a wide receiver, Alec Pierce, with a concussion.
Yeah, he's a rookie.
He was not on the list
He's a second-round pick out of Cincinnati.
And then today, Kenny Moore, the cornerback, and Michael Pittman Jr., the wide receiver. Both Moore has a hip issue, Pittman with a quad issue. They were limited Wednesday. Both did not practice today. And then defensive tackle DeForest Buckner with a hip issue has not practiced.
Story. 2 days in a row.
2 days in a row. He hasn't practiced Wednesday or Thursday.
Their best player on defense. Assuming Shaq Leonard's not out there. I mean, you could have a debate if they're both out there and playing well. But by far, DeForest Buckner is storyline A. When you're talking about coming out of Indianapolis, that's a big deal. I mean, he's so good, so disruptive. But is that one of these things where he's just we're just resting him. He's he's a veteran guy.
It's a long season.
Yeah, we're just making sure he's going to practice Friday, and that's one of those things that you don't assume anything when you have an injury report with a veteran guy like that, because I've seen a lot of guys not practice on Wednesday and Thursday, and then on Friday they practice, and then they get them listed as questionable. And then when you see him out there on Sunday, you would have never have known that anything was ever wrong with that player.
Right, of course.
So you prepare like he's going to play. You don't sit there and go, oh, yeah, that's awesome. He's not going to play
Let's
probably.
rewrite the whole game plan.
No, you don't do that.
No, don't do that. There you have it, the Baptist Health injury report. Again, nobody for the Jaguars officially on the list this week. If you're looking for the MVP of the truck game, then look no further than Ford F-150. Loaded with impressive capability and designed to dominate work, play, and everything in between, this truck makes tough look easy. Your local Ford dealer, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're back with some final thoughts in a moment. And then at 5 o'clock, it's the Doug Pederson Show. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Thinking about your favorite whiskey or whiskey-based cocktail for this weekend's party or tailgate? Us too. While you're out shopping for supplies, don't forget to pick up a bottle of the 2022 Jaguars whiskey available at most local Jacksonville liquor stores. Not leaving the couch this weekend? No problem. You can also order a bottle online at citrusdistillersonline.com. Every bottle is made locally here in Duval.
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 45 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Reconnect with the best version of you at Amara Med Spa, Northeast Florida's premier luxury medical spa, located in Ponte Vedra, Town Center, Avondale, St. Augustine, and Fernandina. With the most advanced injectors, estheticians, and technology, Amara Med Spa is redefining beauty, offering services such as Botox and filler, M-Sculpt Neo, painless laser hair removal, and advanced skincare treatments. Visit theamaramedspa.com and book a complimentary consultation today.
Kessler Creative, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, has been a leader in direct mail for over a decade. Using the latest technology, Kessler can now reach your ideal audience even more effectively. Choose from between a couple of response channels, from direct mail to landing pages designed to engage and initiate responses with potential customers. Kessler Creative, Jacksonville, Florida. Results-driven marketing and a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field, because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
When Jaguars news breaks, you'll hear about it first on 1010XL, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Welcome back, Jaguars Happy Hour. If you're watching us on Jaguars.com or Jaguars social media, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Lageman subscribes to all of those.
I do.
You are taking a live look at the Miller Electric Center outside TIAA Bank Field. The indoor facility portion starting to go up, which is cool to see. The main building has taken shape.
A lot of concrete's been poured.
It's great. I mean, it's looking great. Every day there's something new happening, going up.
I think that's going to be a rooftop practice field. Did you hear about that?
No.
You didn't? Yeah, I think they're going to have a rooftop practice field on top of the facility.
Well, that was one of the original renderings, like in 2014 or 15. Remember that? It was on the river?
You see on the top there where they poured all that concrete.
You got to run at an angle?
No, that's going to be no, it's not an angle. That's a flat roof so that it can be a rooftop practice
Kind of like
field.
the earth is flat,
Well,
too?
they figured that they would maximize the space and go ahead and put a third practice field, or actually a fourth, because of the indoor facility. They would put a third outdoor practice facility or outdoor surface. And so they're putting it on the roof.
Yeah, I don't think that's true.
I'm starting rumors.
Yeah. that fooled them. Yeah, way to go.
Somebody just turned the radio, didn't hear it last part.
Is going
Man,
on?
did you hear about the Jaguars third
Of course.
grass field on the roof? Oh, that's cool.
So that'll be ready for training camp 2023. And welcome back, Jaguars Happy Hour. J.P. Shadrick. That's Jeff Lageman spreading rumors over there. Joe Fortunato on the audio, and our video man. Our video producer, Brent Reber, it's his birthday today.
Yeah, he's like 23 years old.
So I guess for the first time today, I will say happy birthday,
He
Brent.
just started shaving yesterday, No, he's 27. Happy birthday, Reaver.
Yeah, I've waited all day. I didn't say it to him on purpose today, and I finally got it in on the show. That's what I wanted to do.
What'd you bring him for his birthday?
The show?
You didn't? You bring
the
him
show.
I brought him a
gift.
I brought
right?
him a peanut bar. What did you bring him?
Nothing. Yeah, I didn't know his birthday. Oh, now we know.
Anybody get him a birthday cake or anything?
Oh, I haven't seen him all day, so maybe somebody did somewhere. I don't know. Yeah.
I would have brought one in if
We're
I
off
know
at
nobody
6.
brought him
Maybe
some
we'll,
candles in or something.
Yeah.
That's all right. Happy birthday,
Happy
Reaver.
birthday to Brent Reaver. He does a great job for us. And so, all right, Colts Jaguars coming up. Here we go, big game. Jaguars have do very well against the Colts in this place. That's in the past, though. We're looking forward. We're future-focused, as the head coach says. So it's a Colts team that a lot of people picked to win this division. Yeah, they tied last week, but they are still a very talented team overall.
Oh, they're a very, very talented team, and I don't know if they have that it to kind of be the best team in the division, to be honest with you. When you have a lot of news, sometimes it takes a little bit of time to gel, and like I was talking about, the last couple of years they started slow, which hurt their chances kind of down the stretch. And if they start slow this year, then that could be a major problem. I think the addition of Matt Ryan will help them again, as I said before. Jonathan Taylor is the workhorse, and if something were to happen to him, that would be a significant blow to this football team because they really don't have anybody behind him. They have Nyheim Hines, who is, he's, put it this way, he's not a carry-the-load back.
Yeah, he's more like a kind of a
he's a third down
guy.
Yeah, he's a pass-catching
which he's
back.
Done some things against this team in the past, sure.
Yeah, good player, excellent receiver out of the backfield, but he's not
that.
He's not a carry-the-load guy.
Yeah.
And then the next guy that they have is Deion Jackson, which anybody know anything about him? I don't know anything about him.
Nope.
Oh, maybe he's this stud. I don't know it. I don't know. But yeah, this is a very one-player dependent offense as far as how things are going to go. But
hey, remember about 5-7 years ago, there were like 17 million tight ends that always performed for the Colts against this team.
They're pretty good. I mean, the Titans always had the whole batch of tight ends, and they played them all.
But like Mo Alley Cox was there for a minute in Indy, and like a few of those kind of guys, right?
Mo Alley Cox is still there.
Yeah, there you go. And then like Doyle was there for a minute, right?
Yeah, well, Mo Alley Cox and Doyle. Jack Doyle was a tight end who was a pretty good player.
Yeah,
he's retired now. But I mean, they had a couple decent
players.
But
they would for some reason just rack up yards on this team.
The one thing I think that they're missing that I think you got to have in this league is they don't have a lot of speed. When I say speed, I'm not talking about the running back position. I'm talking about the wideout position.
Okay.
Michael Pittman's got good speed, but he's not a burner. If you probably put him and Zay Jones on the field, I don't know, Zay might outrun him. The rest of the guys are all bigger wide receivers. Paris Campbell's a really good blocking wide receiver, really good, arguably the best blocking wide receiver that there is in the league, I think. You got a young player on the other side, Doug Pederson, the guy who has the concussion, second-round pick out of Cincinnati. But, yeah, Ashton Doolin, another guy, kind of, just an average guy. But they don't have a lot of speed. There's not a lot of teams that are sitting there going, man, you know what, we got to keep our safeties back. Like last week with McLaurin, you're like, ooh.
Yeah.
We got to make sure that we got a safety over the top of him. And then with the young player that from Penn State, Jahan Dotson,
yep,
from Washington was a guy that's got great speed. And but I don't see a lot of speed with Indianapolis. But yeah, and Matt Ryan throws a good deep ball. That's always been one of Matt Ryan's strengths. And I'm surprised that the Colts in the offseason didn't try to find some kind of vertical threat to add to their offense because Matt Ryan does throw very good deep. I mean, that's one of his, like I said, it's one of his strong suits. But at each his own, I guess. They've always been kind of in that mode of draft and develop. They haven't spent a ton of money in free agency, at least historically. And they're big believers in drafting their own, developing their own. What is the GM's name in Indianapolis?
Ballard?
Chris Ballard.
Yep.
Came from Kansas City. It was kind of the underling to Brett Veach. I think it is the GM in Kansas City that works so closely with Andy Reid. But Gus Bradley's coming back.
Yeah, Gus coming to town, and there's a lot of connections. Of course, Frank Reich and Doug Pederson were on the coaching staff in Philly. Nick Foles, as you said, is a backup on the team. The connections here and with Doug. I mean, there's a lot of back and forth with these two teams.
Of course,
Jan Ngakoue.
Gus Bradley, when he left here, he bounced around a little bit, was with the Chargers, and then Las Vegas, and then now with Indianapolis, and he's had success pretty much everywhere he's been as a defensive coordinator, going all the way back to the time that he was with Seattle. Good football coach, always positive. I'm a big Gus Bradley fan just because I think he's a good man, and was very beloved here in Jacksonville with a lot of people in the organization and outside the organization. Didn't have a great record as a coach, and from that standpoint, a lot of people didn't love him, but a good dude. He's one of the best people that I've ever met as far as coming through here, coaching staff wise, and I'm a big fan of Gus Bradley.
Yeah, I think he's one of the top people you'll run across.
Great
in the
family,
NFL.
Great family. His wife, Michaela's awesome. Yeah. I mean, just good people.
Their son's playing at South Alabama now, Jaguar.
Is he?
Yeah, quarterback.
Yeah, good for him.
How about that?
Good for him.
In Mobile. All right, so let's touch again on the Jags offense for our final few moments
He
here.
still can't pronounce Jaguars, by the way.
I bet not. That never really goes away.
It's
Jaguars.
Jaguars.
Hey, Christian.
I tried.
It was pretty close to a Dakota accent.
JP, when he first got here, I was like, Gus, we got to have a conversation. He's like, I think Jag. Just say Jag. Ag.
Jag.
And he'd do it. He'd say Jag and ag, but then when he got to Jaguars, it would go Jaguars.
Of course. Yeah.
Poor Gus.
All right, so Christian Kirk had his third best career yardage day this past Sunday, and it feels like that's not just going to be a one-off. The way they threw it to him 12 times, he caught 6 of them. He was open a bunch. That's a good start.
Oh, it's a good start, and the Washington Commanders and Jack Del Rio gave him the opportunities. There was a couple times to where Washington is matching up in man coverage, and somehow, and I don't know if the Jaguars were intentionally trying to get this matchup, or they game planned for it, or it was just luck. But typically, when it happens once, it might be luck. The second time, it's probably more of a trend. They got Jamin Davis, the linebacker for Washington, who was a first-round pick out of Kentucky last year, matched up on Christian Kirk a couple times. You take that any day of the week.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds pretty favorable.
Man-to-man? You kidding me? And then the deep ball was a great route by Christian Kirk. Showed a couple different things. One, it showed great awareness by Christian, great discipline to run the route, to execute the route. And then great speed, because you got to have great speed that once you turn the hips or flip the hips of the defensive back on that 49-yarder to be able to turn the jets on and get out there. And then Trevor threw it out a little bit out front, and so he had to go get it. That was an excellent play by Christian. I think he's going to end up having 100 catches this year. I made that prediction before the game. I'm standing by it. Obviously, if you did the math, 6 times 17, you're going to get there. That'd be 102.
Oh, thanks. I wasn't carrying the one.
But the part that I want to see improve is that 12 targets, 6 catches. Okay, the catch to target ratio has to improve there. It can't be 50%. You want it to be somewhere 75-80% range.
Speaking of, tonight on television in Jacksonville, Fox 30, Jaguars All Access, live from Strings Brewery in Springfield. Josh Allen is your permanent co-host with special guest
Christian Kirk.
Hey, imagine that.
Yeah, we're going to have him on tonight, and a couple things to look forward to. We're going to talk with Christian specifically about that one-on-one matchup with Jamin Davis on one of the plays. We're going to talk about it and show it.
Cool.
And then let him tell us about it. And then with Josh Allen, Trayvon got the first sack of his career using a move called a chop move. We're going to talk about that as well.
We'll check that out tonight. We'll come back in a moment. Network coverage begins with the Doug Pederson Show. We'll hear from the head coach in just a few moments. This has been Jaguars Happy Hour on Jaguars Radio.
Welcome to the Doug Pederson Show, brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. J.P. Shadrick and former Jaguar Jeff Lageman discuss the latest Jaguars news with the head coach. The Doug Pederson Show starts right now.
And welcome in the Doug Pederson Show, presented by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lageman and Jaguars head coach Doug Pederson. Week 2, the home opener, the Indianapolis Colts coming to town. I'm sure you're excited to get in the bank for the first time.
Fired up for this one for a lot of reasons, but obviously opened up the season here. Week 2, game 1 for us here at the bank, and guys are ready to go. We're excited and looking forward to it.
A lot of coaches have kind of goals when they establish the year. You know, okay, here's what we want to do, and one of the ones is typically win all of our games at home. Do you have kind of that in your guidelines for the team?
I do. It's one of the criteria. You know, obviously you got to take care of your division opponents and win there, because that's typically a spot in the tournament, you know, at the end of the year. Secondly, obviously you got to win your home games, and you know, we've got the 7 here, we got the 1 in London, and we've just got to take care of business. You know, it's a home field advantage. You got the crowd in your favor, and it gets loud, it gets crazy, and you know, we just got to take care of business right here at our in our backyard. Kind
of unique in that, you know, your first game at home, you're getting to face a familiar face, and Frank Reich. You know, you guys probably have quite the history together.
Great history together. In fact, in 2018, after we won the Super Bowl in 2017, he was the head coach of the Colts and brought his team back to Philly, and that was the first time that we both got to square off against each other. But I got so much respect for him and what he's done and the program he's established there in Indianapolis, and really looking forward to seeing him, you know, before the game. I'll see him after the game, but during the game, I know he wants to beat us, and I want to beat them.
Competition may be never better than against friends. So what's the score? In your mind, I know you got it.
The game score, or
no, you versus Frank.
I'm 1-0.
There you go.
He left out the important piece of that equation for sure. All right, so what's the first thing that pops up when you see the Colts? When you turn on the Colts, who are they?
Well, I think it starts with the offense. Number one, I think it starts with that really good run game, and obviously they went out and they got Matt Ryan, who a veteran quarterback, to really kind of solidify and do some things offensively, and you know, the run game, everything kind of runs through that. You know, quite honestly, you know, Gus Bradley on defense, the coordinator, we know very well. You know, and I tell you this, I've faced him many times in this league, and that style of defense around the NFL, and it's a tough, difficult defense. It's simplistic in nature, but it's hard to move the football, and it's really hard to throw the football because these guys typically have, you know, rush 4 and have 7 eyes on the quarterback, and so, you know, they're very detailed, which means we have to be very detailed on offense and really hit our spots. Trevor's got to get the ball out of his hand on time, and then I think the other thing is their pass rush, just protecting against four-man pressures, you know, and they do a great job, you know, in that as well.
And a couple guys up front. We know one guy, Ngakoue, was here, drafted here. Kwity Paye, a young player that's pretty stout, not very tall, but stout. But the guy that play in and play out impresses is DeForest Buckner. Long, big, good football player.
Great football player at 6'7", you know. I mean, he's a force to be reckoned with in the middle. He's tall. He can bat some balls down. Makes it hard for quarterbacks to see over the middle of the field. And, you know, these guys do a great job, too, pre-snap. They really crowd the football. Their nose is right on the ball, and they got a really good first step get off. And they time up cadence really well. And they look at TV copy, and they understand the game. And that's why it makes it hard for us. And we've got to stay disciplined within what we're doing, both the run and the pass.
Yeah, watching the film, there's always, for me, I know you're different because you're looking at schematics and schemes and all that, but I kind of watch it from a little bit of an entertainment value as well. And your eyes always get drawn to certain guys. DeForest Buckner is one of those guys, and on offense, there's a guy that plays guard. And I don't ever watch guards, but this Quentin Nelson guy, they're paying him a lot of money now, and he's worth every penny.
He's worth every penny, and he's a physical, nasty offensive lineman, just the type of person you want to really solidify and anchor that offensive line. And he's been a staple there now for a few years, and quite honestly, he's what makes that offense go. He's a leader. He's the guy that kind of sets the tone. Obviously with the run game.
Head coach Doug Pederson with us on the Doug Pederson Show. The Jaguars defense, 3 takeaways last week. This group last year, had 9 all season? That's obviously going to win you a lot of football games in the long run if you keep getting your hands on the football. And, the middle stretch of that game last week was, I think, what this defense was designed to be. No points, take away the ball, get after it, right?
Yeah, exactly right. And that's kind of what I showed the team on Monday, this week is just, this is how you can play. If you don't shoot yourself in the foot, eliminate the mistakes, the penalties, some of the oddball things that happened against us. You start the second half and, there's a punt, touchdown. There's another punt, there's a field goal. There's an interception, field goal. There's another interception, touchdown. So there's 4 possessions, both offensively and defensively, that just work hand in hand. And when the defense can create turnovers and create small and shorter fields for the offense, good things are always going to happen. And that's always been the case around the league. And so we've preached it from day one. We want to create turnovers. We don't live in the past, obviously. We focus on the future, and it was a great job by our defense.
Well, and to get takeaways, if you can get to that favorable down and distance, a lot of the times that's where it comes. So first you got to stop Jonathan Taylor. Last week had a couple missed tackles. I'm sure you want to get them cleaned up. But how do you make sure that you – I don't want to say you stop Jonathan Taylor because I don't know if anybody really does, but how do you limit him?
He's such a big, physical, powerful back. I mean, that's the thing is he's got to be – gap sound up front, number one. You got to maintain that integrity, right, in the run fits. Your linebackers, you got to be able to fill and scrape and run sideline to sideline. And quite frankly, when you hit them, you just go low and you wrap up. And then if you can just hang on and wait for the cavalry to show up and gang tackle him, you gang tackle him. And just like you said, you're not going to necessarily stop him, but you want to slow him up enough to where maybe it disrupts a little timing offensively for them. But it's got to be all hands on deck to get him on the ground.
Is Matt Ryan still the Matt Ryan that took the Falcons to a Super Bowl? I mean, because, he's been around a while now.
He's been around a while, and you just love his leadership and the way he played. I've always admired the way he played and has played this game. And, he's going to study and prepare. And, listen, he's understood, too, now where he is in his career that it's not about him. It's about the team and the guys around him and how he utilizes, those weapons on offense. And you see it in really in play calling with Frank Reich. He's just going to be like run, play action pass, try to pick a spot to find a shot in there. And Matt has always been able to deliver. I guess the one Achilles heel would be the turnovers, with him, if you can get to him early and knock him around. But I'll tell you this, for the most part, he's going to be smart and he's going to put the ball where he wants it to go.
All right, Doug, it's 1 week in the books, a bunch of weeks ahead. It's a long season in the NFL, so you can't, as a team, panic when things don't go well at the end of the day. There were some penalties last week, but this seems like walking in that locker room, they're not panicked at all. It's 1 week. They're moving forward, it feels like.
Exactly right. We got to clean up some stuff. We know the 13 penalties was a shock to us because, it's the most we've had since I've been here, obviously, and really through preseason. And, we got to clean that stuff up. Tackling has to improve. And offensively, we had some veteran guys that just misaligned on offense, some illegal shifts and formations and things that just can't happen. Those are ways of taking advantage of the defense, right? Putting our guys in advantageous positions, and when you line up illegal, you cover a tight end up or something of that nature. It just can't happen because it sets you back. You're 1st and 15, and then defensively, some of the communication issues we had in the secondary. All those things we got to clean up, tackling. And honestly, the guys, even down 14-3 at halftime, there was no panic in that locker room. The guys were mad because they knew exactly what was the issue, and it was just, it was us. And we just got to, maintain confidence in ourselves, keep it about us, and good things will happen down the road.
A lot of times you get to see the most significant improvement in a football team from week 1 to week 2 just because now you got a game under your belt and you've got some reps. But also with a coaching staff and your coaching staff, a lot of times in game 1 you learn things that maybe you were thinking were going to be okay or be a certain way, but now you kind of know. You got some validation, some evidence. What did you learn about your team and about your players after week 1?
I think one of the things I learned as the head coach was still the youthfulness of the team. Being the third youngest football team in the National Football League, and how we approached pregame warmups, how we approached the beginning of that game. There was that sort of that nervous energy. That I don't want to say starry-eyed guys, but they were locked in, but they were excitable. And we talked all week about how to control emotions, keep them under wraps where you can still go out and play and have fun. I think that was something that kind of showed up early with a young team. And we played a lot of first-time young starters and or position players in this game. And the speed ramps itself up just a little bit from preseason. And now they're taking more reps and things of that nature. And, it just comes down to just how you control it. Communication, you have to – talk on offense and defense, and those are all things where we can really make, I think, a big stride here in week 2.
Doug, thanks for the time. As always, good luck to you this week. Let's get a win here at home.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
That's head coach Doug Pederson, back with more. It's the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 45 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
We're back. It's the Doug Pederson Show, presented by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Our thanks to the head coach, Doug Pederson, for joining us, as always, on his program each and every week. Well, yeah, now we can talk about him behind his back since he's gone, like we always do on this show.
We always do?
No, I'm kidding,
Speak for
of course.
yourself.
It's a joke. So, youthfulness, yes, third youngest team in the league, he said, and managing that nervous energy and controlling the emotions of a team was, I thought, was interesting to hear him say that's what he learned about his team.
I think sometimes when you're young and you come out and it's your first game ever, and I was talking last week to a couple different people, and we talked about it on the TV show last week with Josh Allen and Trayvon. And I'll never forget, the first game I ever walk out of a tunnel, and as I'm walking out, there's number 56 in New York Giants blue and red, and that's Lawrence Taylor. And it's like, whoa, Lawrence Taylor, man. And so there's, I think, a newness to when you play your first NFL pro game. The energy is so high. A lot of times you're so amped up that and emotional, and it has a tendency to take away from some of your calmness, your better decision making, and then the energy to play in the game. And I thought that early in the ball game, some of the younger players looked like they were playing in a little slower gear than what I had seen them play in before. And I think part of that was due to the fatigue from the emotional side of it. And so I think in game 2, you'll calm down a little bit, okay, and you get the coaches to calm them down a little bit. And then the better prepared they are and the more that they realize that, hey, look, this is just like playing college football, but everybody's a little bit better, and that's just still a game of football, that they have a tendency to calm down. So I think they'll make a significant jump. Typically from game 1 to game 2 is when you see a lot of improvement. And with a young team, you should see a lot of improvement from game 1 to 2. Just because of that emotional drain that happens sometimes in week 1.
And then that leads to penalties and miscues and things like that. And they had 13 penalties and missed some things in the red zone. And, it's just first game jitters, maybe, some of that.
Well, I mean, you call it whatever you want to call it. Unforced errors, mental errors, penalties on offense, formational things, offsides on defense. Bad decision making, Smoot one time got his hands up high around the head and neck area of a quarterback, and it was called. And you got to realize that's going to get called all the time. So you just don't even get your hand up into that area. And Trevor missing a couple open guys early on in the ball game, especially with Travis Etienne, and that one, you'd like to see that one just make it 10 times out of 10. And then the ball to Etienne on the 4th down play was a little bit high. Like to have it bring it down a little bit, but he did have some. There was an opponent and something in the way, so he's trying to make sure it gets up and over. Travis got to make that catch, So that one's on Travis. Quarterback misses another one to Zay, I believe it was, and Trevor got an unblocked defender coming in and. He throws it. Could have been a little bit better on the throw. Maybe take a little longer to make sure you get it there. But I mean, those are the things that happen when you're just not dialed in yet. And I think with this being a young team and this coaching staff, I think as good as it is, and I think this is an excellent staff, that I think that they'll dial it in and they'll teach this football team and teach these players and get them better. I really believe that. That's. After the game, I think a lot of times in years past, there would always be a little bit of, like last year, the opening weekend loss in Houston. That was a total mess. Total mess. Team wasn't even in it, right? And then after that game, JP, where was the hope that we had that Urban Meyer was going to get this thing turned around last year? It wasn't there.
It wasn't there.
Whereas this year's different.
Well, I mean, then they did play well in Cincinnati on Thursday.
Yeah, but you knew it wasn't going to last.
It's like,
because
okay,
there were
maybe
things
they
that were going on. You're like, this is a total show.
And then all hell broke loose after that game.
Yeah, it's just a total show, and there's supposed to be a word before show.
We get it.
And this year with Doug and this coaching staff, and you just feel better about the direction. And I understand that there's a lot of Jaguar fans that are like, look, we've been hearing this for a while because, the reality is this team in the last 2 years has lost more games than anybody. But I just feel confident that Doug has and if you listen to him in the post game, right after the game, and then you listen to him turn around when he's had a chance to look at the film and you listen to him on Monday, there's just a calmness. And, he's not going to panic. He's not going to overreact. He's not going to, get angry at a question or get angry at a player because a play wasn't made. I think there's something to be said for having a calming leadership in a situation where you're trying to change the culture and you're trying to develop something. And I think it's a really good fit for this organization having Doug in place.
Let's come back and figure out how to stop Jonathan Taylor. We're going to get an answer out of you.
Yeah. Here's the easiest way. stack a lot of guys at the line of scrimmage and make sure you get them before he gets started.
That's ahead. The Jaguars offense, we'll see what they can get done this week against a Colts defense. There's a couple guys on the injury report. This is the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
On the road, there's a thin line between safety and tragedy. Don't cross it. Give law enforcement, first responders, and service professionals the space to safely do their jobs. When you see flashing lights, move over a lane or slow down 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. See lights? Move over, Florida. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
Your pet means the world to you, so Pet Paradise created a slice of paradise just for them. Pet Paradise is your complete pet health care destination with resort-style day camp, overnight boarding, professional grooming, and compassionate veterinary care from New Day, all located under one roof. Pet Paradise has over 50 locations to serve pet fanatics like you nationwide. Book today at petparadise.com, the official pet care provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Cancer patients across the Southeast make Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center in Jacksonville their first choice for treatment. Dr. Jonathan Milquist explains why.
We have so many resources that can help a patient from the very onset, and we just have a degree of unity and cohesive care that is hard to match. It's especially with the tougher cancers that we really excel.
Appointments available now. Call 844-632-2278.
What do you call a group of friends who wear the same jersey for good luck, no matter how old it is, and who support their team through thick and thin, week after week, as if the very season depended on it, while tossing the pigskin and drinking Miller Lite? You call it Miller Time in Jacksonville. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2022 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
We're back. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. The Colts and the Jaguars coming up Sunday. The game presented by TIAA Bank. And this show presented by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. The Doug Pederson Show. Head coach Doug Pederson joining us at the top every Thursday evening here on the Jaguars Radio Network. Well, priority number one for the Jaguars defense this week is running back Jonathan Taylor. He led the league in rushing attempts, rushing yards, and rushing touchdowns a season ago.
And yards after contact.
All of the above. And yes, Logs, the Jaguars had some tackling issues a week ago. They better button it up this week.
Yeah, if you look at PFF puts out grades, etc.
Pro Football Focus.
Yeah, Pro Football Focus. They put out grades for nearly every metric that there is. There's one of them that's a kind of a broad category, and it's tackling grade. And it's all 32 teams, so you can look at what every team has done from a tackling standpoint. The Jaguars were the 5th worst tackling team in the league this past game. And there was a lot of missed tackles, and some of them were because there was great performance by the offensive player. Samuel was like, wow, a couple times. Darius Williams misses a tackle. Tyson Campbell misses a tackle. Rayshon Jenkins misses a tackle. Look, everybody. Devin Lloyd got his jock faked out on one play. It wasn't a great tackling performance. So that has to get better. And JP, you had asked me during the break when we were talking about it, well, is that a sign of teams coming out of the preseason where you're not tackling a lot? Well,
with the rules the way they are, you can't tackle a lot, right? In training camp.
I get it. I understand that. But the reality is that there's other teams that
are tackling.
There's not like 32 teams were grouped near the bottom 5, because it was the first week of the season.
Okay.
Other teams tackled pretty well in some cases. So that's not an excuse. Better angles, better awareness, anticipation, all of those things go towards being a better tackling football team. And then just flat-out execution and being physical. And this week you better be physical. I think the game plan for Mike Caldwell this week is going to have a ton of guys in the box, which ton of guys in the box means that you're going to fortify the number of players that are up at the line of scrimmage to outnumber the Colts blockers. So you'd like to be at the line of scrimmage, but you have one more defender than they have offensive blockers, so that you can always have somebody free. And I would be surprised if anybody goes into any game against Jonathan Taylor and the Colts if that's not the first thing they're trying to do, is to stop Jonathan Taylor with a fortified box. Matt Ryan doesn't garner the respect that he once did, to where teams are going, oh my gosh, we can't stack the box. Matt Ryan's he's gonna kill us deep. That's just not Matt Ryan anymore. I mean, he's still got the ability to do that occasionally, but you're not going in scared of Matt Ryan. You're going in more scared of Jonathan Taylor than you are anything else. So you better stack the box, and you better do a good job of stopping it. And then at times you're not going to just overload the box all the time. You have to pick and choose. And then when you're not overloading the box, you got to have good performance. You got to have guys beat guys.
This Colts team, at least historically, is going to run the ball if they're down 2 scores or if they're up 2 scores.
They did last week.
Yeah, they were down, and then he ran the ball 31 times.
31 carries, and you were down until the fourth quarter. What was it, like 14-3 or something like that the whole time?
Fought back, right.
And so, I mean, give the Colts credit for sticking with the run. But then again, when you got a great player like Jonathan Taylor, you're going to stick with the run. And I think also part of that is that they've got a quarterback who's pretty new to the system, and they're not going, okay, Matt Ryan's been known to turn the ball over. Okay, look at the numbers of Matt Ryan. Have you seen the numbers of Matt Ryan, his career numbers?
Let's see them.
All right, for touchdowns, interceptions, this is crazy, 368 touchdowns.
Been at it for a long time, yeah.
And 171 interceptions.
That's a good amount also.
That's a pretty good number, right?
Yeah.
I think the funny thing is, I wrote this down. Trevor was 8 years old when Matt Ryan was drafted 3rd overall in 2008.
Pretty good now.
That's crazy, right?
It is something.
8 years old. He wasn't even playing Pee-wee yet, probably.
That's hilarious, actually. Oh, man. Well, and then he just surpassed 60,000 passing yards last week.
He did.
In his career, the 8th person to ever do that in league history. That
and
tells
it's
you something.
Career completion percentage, 65.5%, which is pretty good. So he's been a good player. I wouldn't call Matt Ryan a great player, but he's been a good player. And you also have to remember, Matt Ryan's undefeated against the Jaguars. He's never lost to the Jaguars. Matt Ryan's 4-0 against this Jaguar football team. So even though you have that number, okay, the Colts haven't won in Jacksonville since 2014, well, then you got another number on the other side. Matt Ryan has never lost to the Jaguars, ever.
It's a team game, Logs.
No, I know.
So it's going to happen. He's on a new team now.
And Matt Ryan would want to play the Jaguars and the Raiders every week.
He'd be in the Hall of Fame.
He's never lost to either team.
Let's come back. Plenty more ahead. Jaguars offense. Throw to score, run to win was a quote from the head coach this week.
Okay. I would add block to win, too, and to score.
Block in both.
Block to win
instances.
And score. I would add that, too.
Well, we'll get to the offensive line also.
Well, who said offensive line,
I'm
JP?
just telling you.
JP's jumping to conclusions.
I am, and we will when we return. It's the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network. Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
And we're back with breaking news. Coke Zero Sugar might be the best Coke ever.
That's right, Jim. Coke Zero Sugar is a must-try for any Coke fan, so make sure Jim. Jim. We're on the air.
Ooh, yes, this tastes like the best Coke ever to me. Your thoughts, Jen?
Well, can I have a sip?
Jen, we're in the middle of reporting the news.
I need to try it first.
It's Ford Truck Month. Now's the time to get a great deal on the only trucks built Ford tough. Work or play, get after it in a new Ford F-150 or Super Duty truck. Get a Ford Maverick or get after any adventure in a Ford Ranger pickup. Take advantage of our best offers on the full Ford lineup of trucks. But you better get going. These deals won't last. Get to Ford Truck Month. Some models, trims, and features may not be available or may be subject to change. See your local dealer for details.
At Five Star Credit Union, you inspire them to go the extra mile to meet your financial needs. That's why they offer Jaguars fans more banking options like better rates and no hidden fees. Their team is also dedicated to making the communities they serve stronger, volunteering their time and talents while donating millions to local nonprofits. Five Star Credit Union, FiveStarCU.org. Go Jags!
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
Welcome back indeed. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. The Jaguars hosting the Colts in Week 2 at TIAA Bank Field. Hope to see you out here. Looking forward to opening up the bank this season. Another new era of Jags football. Doug Pederson at the helm. This is the Doug Pederson Show, and the Jaguars are trying to get back off the mat after a tough loss in Washington in Week 1. But there were moments.
Did you see the weather?
I haven't looked.
I'm going to look at it right now.
Let's take a look. The, Doppler logs over here. It's going to tell us all about what's going to go on Sunday.
No Mike Burrish. Okay. Mostly sunny with a chance of showers and a slight chance of thunderstorms. Highs in the mid-80s. So from a temperature standpoint, that's not bad.
Okay.
Fingers crossed that we don't get any showers or thunderstorms. But 50%.
What, you're jinxing it? You're just jinxing it. It's going to happen now since you said it. No, that's how it works.
50%.
Apparently earlier today you were like, oh, don't say that because it'll happen.
It's going to be good.
50%. Oh, now all of a sudden there's going to be all this stuff.
50% is a good number.
Way to go.
But I can tell you, I'm about tired of the rain.
Yeah, we've had a lot.
Yeah.
Fortunately, though, the Jaguars.
I'm a little waterlogged.
Training camp got through that without any weather issues.
Well, the other thing that I'm
practice out here so far.
Well, the other thing that I'm looking forward to, after they stopped practicing in training camp at Bishop Kenny, they have
Episcopal.
Episcopal, I mean, sorry.
They are rivals.
Bishop Kenny, I'm having a flashback to 95.
They are rivals, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, but Bishop Kenny in 95, Episcopal this year. So ever since they left Episcopal, they've been practicing on the stadium field.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just curious, I mean, what kind of shape the field's in.
Well, it's a new surface.
I know a new one got put in, but I mean, how good is it? I mean,
Yeah.
is it good to go? I mean, first of all, the grounds crew here is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And when a new surface gets put in here, it's vastly different than when Chicago gets a new surface.
Correct. And then it dumps rain all over it like it did Sunday.
Yeah, that was
so
pretty
anyway.
unfortunate. But I think it's going to be great, and it's going to be fine. But, you're still kind of in your mind, you're thinking about that.
They put on the new surface after the final practice last week. So that's how new and fresh this is. They've practiced on it.
And they're going to do that a couple different times throughout the course of the season.
They've practiced on it Wednesday and Thursday and, a lighter practice tomorrow and then play on it Sunday.
And they still have the ability to be.
And then they're out of town the next 2 weeks, too.
Indoors, exactly.
Yeah. So there's plenty of regrowth time or whatever happens to that
regrowth
stuff.
time.
I don't know. A grass grows, right? I don't know how you're supposed to say that.
Somewhere a groundskeeper guy, golf course guy is going, what did JP just say?
My phone's about to blow up from multiple groundskeepers over the past. The grass grows back.
Would you say the regrowth? Regrowth
right?
Of the
grass. Okay. Sure. Hey, Jags offense. They used two different running backs, different ways. They were throwing the ball around a little bit. Christian Kirk had a big day, but Trevor Lawrence took a lot of contact. I think he was hit 10 times in the game last week. How do you balance it out offensively and kind of keep this thing moving down the field? There were moments where they looked really good, the moments they were just a tick off.
They got to be better up front. And you have to give Washington credit because Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Montez Sweat are really good football players. I mean, that's you can't sit there and just ignore that. You can't say, well, the Jaguars played terrible up front. Well, you know what? They're going against 3 really good players. And Montez Sweat probably surprised me more than Jonathan Allen or Deron Payne, just because he's been a good player. And I think he's averaged like 7 sacks a year in his first 3 years. And then with Chase Young being out, they took Montez Sweat and they were actually flopping him on different sides. And I thought when he went over against Cam Robinson, he had an excellent day. Excellent day. I thought Juwan Taylor played well. Kudos to him. He was in a training camp battle, and he played, I think, winning football in week 1 at Washington. I think the rest of them, they got to get better. And that includes Brandon Sheriff. I don't think that he played his best. I think he was probably the next best if you looked at all the offensive linemen, but you expect more out of a guy like Brandon Sheriff. And then Fortner really struggled. Ben Bartch really struggled. And then Cam, I thought, at times struggled in a big way against Montez Sweat in key moments. And that's the part probably that I think why I would grade Cam down below Sheriff, just because at the critical moments when you need to have a block, he just didn't do it. The good example is late in the game when Trevor gets flushed out of the pocket, Cam got beat on the inside move, and then he's got a running back sitting outside to give him outside help. So when you've got outside help, you protect your inside.
Yeah, that's what Tony was saying on Monday night. You're inside. Nothing gets inside of you.
Yeah, you don't I don't want to say shorts a set, but you're just very aware of where your help is or is not. Yeah. And that was kind of a mental error, pre-snap mental error. And so they got to get better up front. I think it will help calm down a young quarterback's world. And the reality is he's a young quarterback, and a young quarterback can struggle if things aren't calm and things are not calm up front. So they've got to help him out.
Let's come back and discuss the early red zone issues for the Jags and how maybe they can clean that up moving ahead too.
You got it.
This is the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
On the road, there's a thin line between safety and tragedy. Don't cross it. Give law enforcement, first responders, and service professionals the space to safely do their jobs. When you see flashing lights, move over a lane or slow down 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. See lights? Move over, Florida. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
At 5-Star Credit Union, you inspire them to go the extra mile to meet your financial needs. That's why they offer Jaguars fans more banking options like better rates and no hidden fees. Their team is also dedicated to making the communities they serve stronger, volunteering their time and talents while donating millions to local nonprofits. 5-Star Credit Union, 5starcu.org. Go Jags!
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gates Frequent Shopper Clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
We're back. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Joe Fortunato and the birthday boy Brent Reber. Glad you're with us on the Doug Pederson Show. David Cho also on the video side.
Birthday boy.
So, hey, the red zone early. The overthrow to ETN, drop by ETN on the next drive. They missed a third down play on that drive also in the end zone. Zay Jones, I believe?
Yeah, that's correct.
So there were some opportunities down there in the red area they didn't take advantage of early. And, going for it, I like the aggressiveness. Why not? That's going to be Doug Pederson at times, going for it on that fourth down play instead of taking the points. That's him. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you go for it, you got to be able to execute those plays. So how do you improve that red zone consistency?
Well, those two plays that you're talking about, the one to Zay and the one to ETN, I mean, not the fourth down play, but the one that was on the first drive.
Yep.
That's just you got to be accurate with the ball.
Pitch and catch.
You got a clean pocket. You got to be accurate with the ball. There were a couple other plays that were lost opportunities in the game. The Washington Commanders were being a little aggressive on the outside with Marvin Jones, and they had a double move 2 different times with Marvin Jones, and Marvin had him. I'm talking beat, okay, could be a touchdown possibly, if not a huge explosive play. First one, you got to pressure Montez Sweat grabs his right arm, comes over the top of Trevor's shoulder, and as Trevor is trying to follow through, the shoulder stops, the arm continues, but the shoulder stops, and then the ball flutters incomplete. I mean, that could be a touchdown.
Sure, yeah.
You haven't, and so because it was open, the coaches did the smart thing. Like 5 or 6 offensive plays later, they go right back to it, but they flip the side and go over to the left side this time, and 3 guys like literally sack, and if he's got a clean pocket, you got another one. So I mean, it's always a combination of things. It's not all Trevor. It's not all the offensive line. Travis Etienne can be better in pass blocking. He got rocked a little bit when he was asked to be in the pocket and step up and make a block. You got to be a little bit more firm if you're a running back. James Robinson did okay. He could have been a little bit more firm. So tight ends can be better. Dan Arnold, Evan Ingram, given the opportunity. Trevor can be better sometimes seeing the field on a fourth down opportunity. He had, I think it was a fourth down opportunity. He had Evan Ingram, or on a third down opportunity, it was Evan Ingram that was open in the middle. Find him. So tough day, but a young team and a lot to learn from. And you just want your quarterback's world to calm down. And when I say that, I'm not putting it all on him. Calming him down can be a couple different ways. One is that his world and his mind and all of that needs to calm down. More confidence he gains, the more assured he is, the better he feels, the better he'll play. And then up front, the performance up front is got to calm down. It needs to be better so that you have a young quarterback and you understand as an offensive lineman, look, we need to be better so our young quarterback can be better. Because I can tell you this, if your protection up front is like this week after week, you won't win many games.
Oof. Yeah. He was hit 10 times in the game, and we'll come back in a moment and pick some players to watch in this game. One from each side of the ball.
You got it?
Yeah. We're breaking new ground. It's a new segment.
Player, or are we talking group?
Sure.
One or the other?
You know what? However you want to do it.
Okay.
Think about it. You got a couple minutes. It's the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 45 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans that cover over 6,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call the MVPs at CarShield for their best coverage ever. Call 800-471-1223. 800-471-1223. Go Jags!
And we're back with breaking news. Coke Zero Sugar might be the best Coke ever.
That's right, Jim. Coke Zero Sugar is a must-try for any Coke fan, so make sure you... Jim. Jim. We're on the air.
Ooh, yes, this tastes like the best Coke ever to me. Your thoughts, Jen?
Well, can I have a sip?
Jen, we're in the middle of reporting the news.
I need to try it first.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
We're back. It's the Doug Pederson Show. Week 2, the Jaguars and the Indianapolis Colts at TIAA Bank Field. Jags at 0-1. The Colts at 0-1 and tied for first place in the AFC South.
Opportunity to be the first in the division to win.
Yeah, I like that.
The AFC South is winless.
It is. It's amazing, right? And it's going to mess up the division standings and all this the rest of the year unless there's more ties. But it's what it is. And, hey, and like we said earlier, the Indy has, 5 of their first 7 games are in the division. They've got to make hay here pretty quickly to stay in this division race, at least in the division race. And then the Jaguars just trying to get their first W in a while. So let's go for it.
Well, because this is about as good of a chance as any to get a win for the Jaguars. I mean, I'm not
it's
trying
tough
to
coming up. It's tough.
Well, it's just I mean, you play some good teams, and you're going to be on the road a little bit. I mean, that's
hostile environment
where you have struggled mightily. What is it now? 18 road losses in a row.
Yeah, and then the West Coast notoriously
not
over
easy.
the years has been bad.
It's not
easy. Philly's a tough place to play,
especially
and
when
after
you're playing a good team.
Yeah.
On the West Coast.
So let's hear from you about this game and pick some players to watch this Sunday. One for each side of the ball for each team,
and I'm going to stay
or
away
a position group, whatever you want.
And I'm going to stay away from some of the stars. Okay, well, like Trevor or Matt Ryan.
That's kind of the idea.
Jonathan.
We're going to dig deep.
So I'll start when he's a star. Quentin Nelson.
Okay.
For the Colts offense.
Yes, the guard.
Just because he's so good, and it's hard not to watch him just because he's that good of a football player. And Foye Oluokun, he's got to have a big game. If you're facing Jonathan Taylor, your middle linebacker has to ball. Now, I'm talking ball. Be physical, be downhill, and be relentless. And he's going to have that type of performance this week. Those guys in front of him also have to do pretty well to allow him that freedom of movement. So there's your Colts offense, Jaguars defense guys to watch.
I like those two. Yes, those are good. Two good choices considering the nature of this game.
On the other side, I think Ngakoue and Cam Robinson has a lot of attractiveness to it. Just because it's against two teammates or former teammates, It's going to be highly competitive. Yannick is a very good pass rusher. He's very good. Cam's coming off a game that he didn't have such a great performance against pass rushers, so this is going to be a matchup to watch. So as far as the Colts go, Ngakoue. DeForest Buckner's the no-brainer. Like I said, I wasn't going to pick a star.
If he's out there, he's been on the injury report, not practicing this week.
The next one might surprise some people, but I want to see Luke Fortner play better than what he did this past game in Washington.
What did he struggle with the most? The speed, the strength, I
think it was a little bit of everything.
Okay.
I think it was the speed, it was the strength, it was the making the calls. I think it was a little bit of everything, and I felt really good about him coming out of the preseason. I still feel really good about him. But I think a player like Fortner, will calm his world down. I think he'll have a better performance this week. And I'm looking forward to seeing that as far as play out. I want to see him play well because I think he's capable of playing so much better than what he did in Washington. And, of course, the line mates that are around him. But I really want to see if he jumps his level of play, then that makes it a little bit easier for everybody else because the center's the guy that's making the calls, making the adjustments. And when he's confident, and center a lot of time is blocking both sides, helping guys out. So they need him to take a step up in game number 2 in his career.
Doug Pederson was asked about that offensive line, and I think Ben Barch even, do he still believe in this? He's like, well, yeah, we believe in Ben Barch, we believe in Fortner and the offensive line. This is the group, and they're going to improve and get better, and that's from the head coach believing in them. Let's go.
Well, you're going to believe in them until you don't.
That's right. It's true.
That's the way it is.
Got to perform.
It's the way it is. You got to perform. It's a bottom line business. Cole Van Lanen is on this roster for a reason. They felt good about him enough to where they traded a draft pick away to bring him in as a backup guard. And I'm sure if the performance is not where it needs to be, then other players will get a look. That's kind of how it works at this level.
Hey, those are 4 nice players to watch. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. You got Quentin Nelson and Foye Oluokun, and then Yannick Ngakoue and Luke Fortner.
Yeah, I'm really anxious.
I like that.
I'm really anxious to see also because we didn't see a big impact in week 1 at Washington with Jamal Agnew. He had the one punt return for I think it was 2 yards, and then he had a rush for 6 yards, a reception for 6 yards on the little quick screen.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of been a little bit of the X factor. And I'm not talking about seeing him in this X factor role on offense. I want to see him take a punt or a kickoff return.
Yep.
I want to see the hold your breath kind of moment with Jamal Agnew as a returner.
Flip the field somehow, right? Do something, like something big. And obviously it was in this game in Indy last year where he had the long run, the handoff kind of thing. He went, 60-something yards for a touchdown,
great play.
Which was a great play.
Great play. And
he's got that ability.
The other thing to watch is who the hell is going to be kicking for Indy.
Oh, yeah. They don't have anybody on their depth chart right now. They're both in the practice squad. So
they cut Blankenship. Rodrigo Blankenship got cut after a game in which he missed a 42-yarder in overtime to win.
Yikes.
And then he had 2 kickoffs out of bounds.
We'll come back. Our final thoughts ahead of this Week 2 matchup, the Colts and the Jaguars coming up. This is the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
On the road, there's a thin line between safety and tragedy. Don't cross it. Give law enforcement, first responders, and service professionals the space to safely do their jobs. When you see flashing lights, move over a lane or slow down 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. See lights? Move over, Florida. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
Cancer patients across the Southeast make Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center in Jacksonville their first choice for treatment. Dr. Jonathan Milquist explains why.
We have so many resources that can help a patient from the very onset, and we just have a degree of unity and cohesive care that is hard to match. It's especially with the tougher cancers that we really excel.
Appointments available now. Call 844-632-2278.
Your pet means the world to you, so Pet Paradise created a slice of paradise just for them. Pet Paradise is your complete pet health care destination with resort-style day camp, overnight boarding, professional grooming, and compassionate veterinary care from New Day, all located under one roof. Pet Paradise has over 50 locations to serve pet fanatics like you nationwide. Book today at petparadise.com, the official pet care provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Reconnect with the best version of you at Amara Med Spa, Northeast Florida's premier luxury medical spa, located in Ponte Vedra, Town Center, Avondale, St. Augustine, and Fernandina. With the most advanced injectors, estheticians, and technology, Amara Med Spa is redefining beauty, offering services such as Botox and filler, M-Sculpt Neo, painless laser hair removal, and advanced skincare treatments. Visit theamaramedspa.com and book a complimentary consultation today.
With the first pick in the 2022 draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Duck Duck Rooter, the best plumbing and septic company in Florida.
Congratulations, Duck Duck Rooter. So tell us, how does it feel to be picked number one?
Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services is excited to announce we're a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When you need help tackling any type of plumbing or septic issue, call our team of first-round draft picks for the win. DuckDuckRooter.com. That's DuckDuckRooter.com.
Hold on. You want me to tell them about Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea in just 30 seconds? This is impossible. Hey, I'm Billy from Twisted Tea. How can I explain that first sip of cold, smooth, real brewed tea? So good! And the extra kick you get from just the right amount of alcohol? The twist of lemon, Wait, what? We're almost out of time? Oh, shit. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Look for the bright yellow cans wherever you buy beer.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
Welcome back. Final moments of the Doug Pederson Show. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. It's week 2. The Colts and the Jaguars coming up. 1 o'clock is the kickoff time. 1:02 officially. Total leather. And 12 o'clock noon start for Countdown to Kickoff on the Jaguars radio network. We'll hear from Josh Allen on that program.
Want him to play better this week, too.
We'll hear from Tom McCarthy, who has the call on CBS Sports, play-by-play man.
Tiki Barber.
Tiki is the analyst.
The color analyst, UVA guy, by the way.
That's right.
You to know
yeah,
that.
Both of the Barber brothers, right?
Former running back of the New York Giants football team. Tom Coughlin was head coach. Tom Coughlin changed the way he carried the ball so that he would stop fumbling.
Good idea.
It worked.
Yeah.
I mean, Tiki was a fumbler, and then Tom got him to that high and tight where he's holding the ball up, and it looked kind of different, but
it worked out.
It worked for him.
So we'll hear from Tom coming up. Tom McCarthy, CBS, has the call. Phillies television announcer as well. They're in the playoff, a wild card chase right now in the National League. And
so he's a baseball guy?
Yeah.
All right.
So that's coming up, and you'll have full podcast of that. Fred Taylor, as always, you guys in the booth, and we'll get you ready for kickoff. It's going to be a fun game, I think.
No, it's going to be great. Weather looks like it's going to be good. Hopefully,
feel good about it, the game?
I think it's an even matchup. I mean, look, I said this last week, and sometimes it's hard to feel good about a matchup when you got a football team that has lost more games than anybody in the last 2 years. But I like where Doug and this coaching staff and the direction that they're heading. And this is a division game. This is against a team that the Jaguars have had, if you could look around the rest of the league and the success they've had elsewhere, it hasn't been very good. So against the Colts, it's been as good as you could expect. I mean, so yeah, I feel good about this matchup. Do I think that they're going to just win flat out and crush them? I wouldn't say that, but I think it's going to be an even battle. Matt Ryan's a a good player, but Jonathan Taylor scares the bejesus out of me. But here's the thing. If Trevor plays like he did last year in the last game of the season, he was fantastic. He had like 111 quarterback rating. He was, I think, the highest completion percentage maybe of any game that he had. He was making good decisions. He was playing fast. I mean, that's where this team needs to be. Better up front and allow him to be able to be better back there.
That game twisted up the Colts organization like a pretzel in the offseason. And it's still in their mind.
It made Carson Wentz persona non grata.
Let's keep it on their mind this Sunday. We'll talk to you, Logs.
You got it.
Jeff Lageman. Thanks to our entire crew. I'm J.P. Shadrick. And this is the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.